Hip internal rotation, positional isometrics. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to passively get into the biggest hip internal rotation you can get into before it starts to hurt. So by passive, I mean you're not using the tissue to actively rotate the hip out. The easiest way to do it is sit on something that's about the height of your shins here and just walk your foot out. By walking your foot, you're not using this tissue here, you're just using your foot. So we're going to go out to wherever you feel comfortable. As soon as that starts to feel uncomfortable, that's where you're going to stop. I don't want you to feel any pain. If you feel any pain at all, you've gone too far, just walk back a tiny bit. And that's the position that you want to be. Once you've found the position that you want to be, we now want to have an immovable object that is at the other outside of your foot. So in this case, if that's as far as I can get, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move over a couple of inches, do that again. Is that the right spot? Cool, that's as far as I can get. I've got my immovable object, fantastic. I'm now going to get a yoga block. You can use anything that you want just to put in here, squeeze your knees together, not necessarily tight, but just to keep everything still. Once we're in this position, you're just going to relax for about 30 seconds because I want your nervous system to feel safe. So while you're in this position for 30 seconds, just breathe it. It is an important aspect to this. So when you breathe, I want you to breathe 3 seconds in and then 6 seconds out. So double the time on the exhale. So it's just in for 3, out for 6. Just sit here for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever you feel like. It doesn't really matter too much. Then what I'm going to get you to do when you start the movement is you're going to try to rotate your leg this way. So you're effectively going to be using your outside of your hip here and your hip socket itself to rotate your foot into whatever this immovable object is. What I want you to do is gradually ramp up the intensity. So you're going to start at 10%, 20%, 30%, 40, 50, 60% effort. So 60% effort is the maximum that you're going to get to, or whenever it starts to feel uncomfortable, whichever comes first. So if you start at 10% and that feels uncomfortable, then stop and stay at 10% and that's it. You're then going to hold whatever you get to, you're going to hold that for 30 seconds. Once that 30 seconds is up, you're going to rest. You're not going to move, you're just going to let go, you're going to recover, and you're going to breathe. So you're going to give yourself about 30 to 45 seconds. Once again, breath work. 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out, recover, chill, get the nervous system to relax. And then you're going to go again. Gradually ramp up, 10%, 20%. Let's just assume you can only get to 20%. You're just going to stop here at 20% effort. Once again, you're rotating your foot, rotating your femur this way, internal rotation, and then your foot is being pushed into obviously that immovable object. Now, what I want to happen over the course of the few weeks that you're doing this, I want you to find a couple of things. One is, what we're hoping is that over the course of the first few weeks and month, that 10 or 20% or 30% or whatever it is, that's that maximum intensity that you get to before you start to feel uncomfortable, that over time you can get to a higher degree of intensity. The other thing that we want to be finding as we're going over the weeks is that the angle of your internal rotation can get larger before you start to feel a bit uncomfortable. So assuming that's as far as you can get on day one, you're probably not going to get much difference for a couple of weeks, but then I'm hoping that we can start getting a little bit more range. It's always going to be passive. I don't want you actively doing this. That will come later, but to start with, it's walk your foot out, find that range here, and then you go. If you don't have a block, you can literally just sit there and hold your leg. That's fine. It works exactly the same. I just find this to be slightly more comfortable because I now have my hands free. And there you go. Hip internal rotation, positional isometrics. Enjoy.